So recently, President Obama spoke to a group of black men about the election, and he was basically warning them about Donald Trump. And he was calling on them to think about the real reasons why they don't support Kamala Harris. Well, some black men. He was referring to some black men who don't support Kamala Harris, and he wanted them to look at the real reason why they don't support Kamala Harris. And so I want to just take some time to share my thoughts about this. First, I want to summarize some of the things that Obama said to these black men. He said that some black men are supporting a man who has disregard for black men, basically. He went on to talk about how people are coming up with all kinds of excuses as to why they don't support Kamala Harris when the real reason why some black men don't support her is because they are not feeling the idea of having a black woman as president. And then he went on to talk about how black women have had black men's backs for a very long time. He talked about how it's black women who have been out in the streets protesting, for instance, when there's a situation involving police brutality against a black man. And he went on to talk about how some of these guys are actually supporting a man who denigrates them, and that man being Donald Trump. So here's what I have to say in this regard. Like some people like tried to bash Obama for making these statements. You got these conservatives talking about him chastising black men, and then you had these hoteps on here. You know, these people that don't live in reality, these people who really don't support the electoral process, and they have so much negative stuff to say about Democrats in particular. But they're basically saying he's chastising black men and speaking down to black men. So here's a few things that I have to say about it. First of all, President Obama is absolutely right when he says that Donald Trump has shown disregard for black people and black men as well. He is absolutely right when he says that some black men are supporting someone who denigrates them, because that is what Donald Trump has done. First of all, Donald Trump has said things like, only black people can live like this. He was driving through a slum in Chicago and he said, only black people can live like this. This is a man who referred to black countries as shithole countries, African countries as shithole countries. And he turned around and said, we need more people from countries like Norway. And as you all know, Norway is a predominantly white country. This is a man who recently said that Haitian immigrants are eating people's pets, are eating the dogs and the cats. That's what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump recently made statements about Kamala Harris, basically saying if she's elected, the country will become like Detroit. And you could check out my last video where I go into detail about the racism behind that statement. This is a man who, at a time when black people have been unalived at the hands of these stinking police, the stinking racist police, this man joked about police brutality. So Obama is absolutely right when he says that Trump denigrates black people and has shown disregard for black people. He's absolutely right. There's no question about that. And then if you just look at the policies, his attack on affirmative action, his proposing to provide police with immunity. And the list goes on and on. And I could, do a whole video just talking about that, and I've done that before. The other thing is this, Obama talked about the whole idea that some black men don't like the idea of a black woman serving as president. They can't even imagine a black woman in that position because they hate black women. Some of these black men actually hate black women. You can see it on their content. Their content is infused with misogyny against black women. And it is no coincidence that most of these red pill content creators are supporting Donald Trump because of that animosity that they have for black women. You know, some black men don't like to see a black woman in a position of status and power because it makes them feel small, unfortunately. That's how some men think. They think that the black woman should be some kind of domestic servant or something like that instead of an equal and full participant in society. So Obama is speaking actual facts. But with all that being said, I think that the Democrats need to talk about what Kamala Harris plans to do and what her policies are. That's what they need to focus on and how those policies will benefit African Americans in general and African American men in particular. I think that that would go a longer distance than, you know, emphasizing how horrible Donald Trump is. And he is a horrible person.